Hello Mr. Blasphemer. Do you know that we Muslims follow the Bible more closely than Christians that are unbelievers, including you? Take for instance, Jesus says in Matthew 5:17, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them but to fulfill them." We adhere to laws like circumcision, as commanded in Genesis 17:10-11. Every male among you shall be circumcised. If Jesus followed this law, shouldn't Christians as well? Don't tell me Jesus fulfilled the law.
One thing about you is that you are not different from the Pharisees and Sadducees of Jesus' days, having holier than thou attitude. As for your point, context is key not to expose your ignorance in public. Genesis 17:10-11 was directed at Abraham's descendants. Not everyone is required to follow that law.
Are you more knowledgeable than Jesus that followed the command given to Abraham while you claim to follow Jesus? Jesus was a descendant of Abraham and he followed the law. Shouldn't all believers, whether Christian or Muslim, follow it too?
You see why I said you are ignorant. Jesus fulfilled the law, yes, but as a descendant of Abraham and also from the nation of Israel as well. But Christians aren't bound by Old Testament laws in the same way because we are not from the descent of Abraham nor from the nation of Israel. Genesis 17:13 clarifies that this covenant was specifically for those born in Abraham's household or bought with his money. It's not a universal command.
So Christians don't have to follow the Old Testament at all. Allah will never forgive you for this.
Put sentiment aside and face the record. For Gentile Christians, it's more about what's required under the new covenant through Christ. We follow the moral teachings, but rituals like circumcision aren't required. Instead, we adhere to broader teachings that apply to all humanity, like the Noahide laws given to Noah's descendants.
Noahide laws. What do they involve? Do you need to fabricate to bail out yourself from your disbelief?
Disbelief. I smiled at your ignorance. In case you are not pretending not to know, the Noahide laws are 7 universal laws given by God to Noah after the flood. They include prohibitions against idolatry, murder, theft, sexual immorality, blasphemy, eating the flesh of a living animal, and the command to establish justice. These apply to all people, not just Jews.
How do you know I was pretending? Anything just to increase your disbelief. Away from that. So you are saying these laws are enough for Christians?
Exactly. You need to learn so that you teach other ignorant fellow Muslims like you that comes with this same argument. The Noahide's laws are a foundational guide for moral living. Jews also support the Noahide teachings, especially in relation to Gentiles. The Torah isn't required for Gentiles to follow in its entirety. The Noahide laws offer a moral framework that even Jews believe Gentiles should follow. Muslims always looks for ways to look for what is not there against Christians.
Keep your smelly mouth away from me. You will die in your disbelief and enter the fire even though you don't believe in torment of the fire. Wouldn't following the Torah, like circumcision even with the Noahide's laws, show greater obedience to God, infidel?
It's not about the rituals but about faith and moral living. Even the Jewish tradition agrees that Gentiles are not obligated to follow all parts of the Torah. The focus is on the Noahide laws and the teachings of Christ, which emphasize love for God and neighbor. This is what guides Christians, rather than adherence to every Old Testament law. Your religion is riddled with rituals and you want to force it on us.
So, you are saying that both Jews and Christians agree that Gentiles aren't required to follow all the Old Testament laws. You may suit yourself until the angel of death comes for you.
Whatever. I am not swayed by your disturbed emotions. Both traditions recognize that Gentiles are not bound by the entire Torah. The Noahide laws provide a sufficient moral guide for all, while Christians follow the teachings of Christ, which fulfill the law's intent without the need for all its rituals.
Go to hell.